Welcome back to the program. More than 20,000 cases of domestic violence have been reported in Mozambique since the beginning of the year, but there are fears the true number is higher. Now, more than a quarter of reported cases were against women and children, with incidents including physical violence, sexual abuse and early marriages. Sidialia Chok, Minister for Gender, Children and Social Welfare, said she was conscious that there are many other cases as she launched a new campaign to tackle the issue. In Nigeria, just the Nigerian police has confirmed the arrest of Mariam Sanda for allegedly stabbing her husband, Haliru Bello, to death. She's on trial for that now. 35-year-old Bello, a son of Haliru Bello, a former chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has been buried according to Islamic rites in Abuja after prayers at the National Mosque. That's just one of the many cases reported here in Nigeria as well, and it's an issue that has been an ongoing debate for a long time in the country and across Africa. And joining us to share her perspective on this is the coordinator, Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team, LOLA VIVOUR-ADENIYI. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
It's a huge issue. Let's just start like that. It's a huge issue, and we need to keep on talking about this. But give us a sense of what really is going on.
Okay, so last year in our office we handled a total of 455 cases bordering on rape, domestic violence and child abuse. This year, as at last week, we had handled a total of 1,161 cases. So this it reveals a 100% increase. Now, we shouldn't be alarmed by this figure, because if we want to be truthful to ourselves, these vices have always been there. What statistics show is on the increase is the reporting. And we believe that it is good. It means that people are speaking up more now. People are more aware of support services available. In Lagos State, we have a zero tolerance to these issues. People are reporting on behalf of victims or survivors. And in Lagos State, we have the political will. We're putting our money where our mouth is. So everybody at the different helms of affairs is ensuring that perpetrators are brought to book, survivors get justice, and we continue to create awareness and sensitization about these issues.
In the reported cases now, usually, let me start this way. Usually in the case of, abuse, when it comes to maybe, in the home, a man and a wife, they say that the larger percentage is, the man abusing the woman.
Yes.
But now that there's an increase in the cases reported, so we've seen the case of someone like Mariam Sanda that killed her husband. Can we also say that, the percentage of, a woman abusing a man is also, a lot more than, was previously reported?
Yes. So like last year, we saw 10 males came forward to report their spouses. And this year, we've seen over 60 men come forward to report cases of domestic violence, mostly on emotional abuse or deprivation of access to children. So we are seeing more men come forward to report these cases. And domestic violence affects both gender. It's just that statistics show it's mostly men that perpetrate this act. That does not mean that men also are not suffering in silence.
Apart from the government, doing something drastic about this, what can the women do, to, stop this abuse? I say something like, for instance, in the case where there are fatalities, why can't the partners just walk away? I mean, what goes on? What do you think goes on in their mind? Why they carry out these acts?
Who now? The perpetrators?
The perpetrators themselves.
Okay, well, we've actually conducted studies, and we've seen that majority of these male perpetrators are actually victims themselves.
Okay.
So they witnessed intimate partner violence when they were growing up. So they grew up to believe that this is how to express yourself. You have to resort to fists. A woman has no say in the home because his mother did not have could not make any decision for them whilst growing up. So they grew up to think that this is how, I should run my home when I get married. Then you have the victim mentality. And then there are so many societal perceptions, so many controversial issues that, sometimes society, most times, will blame the woman, will blame the victim, not just for domestic violence, even for rape. You have people blaming the victim that, oh, it's because of what she wore,
yes,
or it's because she went there. So it cuts across too for domestic violence. Perhaps you shouldn't talk too much, you know, you were talking too much, and that is why he hit you. And they continue to feel that it is their fault. You see, that is the philosophy of domestic violence. The perpetrator wants to control and dominate, and the perpetrator keeps the survivor in a state where there's victim mindset. She believes that it is her fault. She's a victim. There's a lot of guilt blaming. So sometimes the victim actually believes that they deserve it, that it is my fault. If I had put the food on time, I would not have been slapped, I would not have been punched. So these are real deep issues. These are really, really deep issues.
What about in the case of minors? Let me, bring to your, knowledge, if you've not heard about it, the case of a toddler in Benin that was rescued in Benin City. A case of her father and a stepmother. The police had to rescue her through the roof, I guess, from a house. Yeah. The toddler cannot blame itself for being abused. So in the case of that, yes, how does society react to that? What, is the cause of such abuse?
Some people say it's ignorance, Some people say it's poverty. Some people say it's economic recession, But I think experts will tell you ignorance has a very major role to play in this. This issue of discipline. Where do we draw the line between discipline and abuse? If you're disciplining a child and then you start to cut the child, you cut the child with a knife, or you place a hot iron on the child, is that discipline, or are you abusing the child?
Or throwing the person from like
exactly,
a three-story building.
Exactly, because she allegedly stole some jewelry. And I think we must begin to ensure that these perpetrators are convicted. You see, conviction is a great deterrent. The way we see it in the paper that so-so-so child was abused, we should also see that that person was prosecuted, and it was done timelessly. And that's why government is looking at this from a holistic perspective to ensure that perpetrators are brought to book.
Right, thank you so much for your time on Network Africa. LOLA VIVOUR-ADENIYI speaking to us on domestic violence. It has been discovered that simple water tests could prevent crippling bone disease. Now, researchers say a fast color-changing test that detects fluoride in drinking water could help prevent the crippling bone disease, skeletal fluorosis, in developing countries. Take a look.
Lead researcher Dr. Simon Lewis from the University of Bath says fluoride is often added to drinking water, and a little bit is beneficial. It can lead to reduced levels of tooth decay, but too much fluoride in drinking water is actively harmful and can lead to a disease called skeletal fluorosis, a devastating, crippling condition whereby bones are attacked by the fluoride. Skeletal fluorosis causes crippling deformities of the spine and joints, especially in children whose skeletons are still forming. Adults are also affected. One sufferer is 6-year-old from Tanzania. People there have been found to be drinking water with naturally occurring levels of fluoride, more than 60 times the U.S. recommended level. 6-year-old Kurianga's legs are badly bent, and he's forced to walk with a makeshift stick. He's currently undergoing corrective surgery in Moshi. Researcher Carlos Lopez-Alet has developed a molecule that, when added to water, changes color from purple to blue within minutes if fluoride levels are too high.
It doesn't require a laboratory. It doesn't require any specialist equipment. It doesn't require a person who's been highly trained to use any equipment. It doesn't require a power supply. In fact, it doesn't even require the user to be literate.
The technology is in the proof of concept stage, but the team hopes to develop non-liquid test strips similar to litmus paper.
That's Network Africa. Thank you for watching. I'm Joke Rogers.